now just take our seats so that we can initiate our event celebration of our Pride initiative. First of all, before we start, I'd like to see if all the interpreters would please rise or stand up so that everyone that's here knows whether there's an interpreter available. And behind the interpreter's chair, you'll find that there'll be the language that the interpreter is providing the service for. So if you need an interpreter, please approach any of the individuals that are currently standing. Thank you very much. Well, once again, welcome everybody. My name is Francisco Braga. I'm the Director of Operations for the Division of Rehabilitation Services within the Department of Human Services. It's a great privilege and pleasure and basically an honor for me to welcome you today to this great celebration of the initiative in terms of the Pride partnership that has been developed between all the community partners, the University of Illinois, and the Department of Human Services. So I'd like to start off this initiative celebration today with thanking all the participants that initiated our process in terms of teaching us so much in this journey to where we are currently at this point. Working with our communities has always been a passion for me, and I know that we will continue to work on this path. With that stated, I'd like to initiate our celebration today of the end of our project, which was 3 very fruitful years in partnership with participants and all of you. And with that, I'd like to move on to introduce our first speaker from the Illinois Department of Human Services. She's the Associate Director of the new Welcoming Centers through the Department of Human Services that serves immigrants and refugees. It's a very new initiative within the department. She is here to express the vision of the department based on the Secretary Grace Hove's vision to work towards building relationships with all the communities. Well, with that, I'd like to introduce to you Lillian Jimenez from the Illinois Department of Human Services.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. Alright, getting that worked out. And there we go. So good evening. I bring you greetings from Secretary Grace Hove, who is the new Secretary of the Illinois Department of Human Services. We are very, very lucky to have Secretary Hove as serving in her role because of many, many reasons. Many of those reasons are the reasons I was inspired to come work at the department. The fact that she's from an organizing background, the fact that she's from an immigrant background, the fact that she's worked in multiple communities and cross communities have all inspired me and many other folks to get involved with the Department of Human Services. Now, I am new to the department. My new role is the new office of Welcoming Centers and Office of Immigrant and Refugee Services. So I'm very excited to take on that role. And I'm excited because, again, the Secretary has so much faith and confidence in our communities that she is initiating this new office. And I am very excited to be here, especially today, to learn from all of you, to learn from this project, to learn what's been happening over the last few years, so that we can not only just listen to this information, but use this information. Truly learn from each other, bring the information back to the department, and grow. And in my role as the Office of Welcoming Centers, my goal is to try to incorporate it in the new Welcoming Centers. And you all will all hear more about the Welcoming Centers in the next few months as we roll them out, as we develop them. But part of this process is learning from communities and people like you who are in this room. So I look forward to meeting with you. I would love to meet with all of you, every single person in this room, because that's what it's going to take to build a truly diverse, welcoming center that is welcoming to everybody of all abilities. So I am very excited again to hear about this project and bring all of the commitment from the department. So I just wanted to mention that there have been recent policies that made it very difficult for a lot of our communities, and that is very true. And I don't have to tell all of you about that because we're all experiencing it firsthand. But I'm here to tell you that our commitment here in Illinois is to dedicate ourselves and rededicate ourselves, and that's why we're creating the new Department of Welcoming Centers, and that's why we're here today to learn from you. So I'm lucky to introduce the next speaker, who will speak a little bit more about the partnership, and we'll hear all about today about the partnership, about what's been working, and from all of you. And I'm very lucky to introduce the next speaker, Rahnee Patrick, who is somebody that also inspires me because of her commitment to the students and to diversity. I was lucky to witness firsthand her support for students with the retention of Illinois Students in Equity, the RISE Act. If anybody here has heard of the RISE Act. Amalia was very dedicated and central to the passage of that act, and her support of the students was crucial. Amalia serves, Dr. Payares, as friendly terms, like saying our first names, but Dr. Payares serves as Associate Chancellor and Vice Provost for Diversity, as well as Professor of Political Science and Latin American Latino Studies. A scholar of social movements and political identities in Latin America and the U.S., Dr. Payares is the author and editor of several books and publications. Dr. Payares is responsible for overseeing and guiding various units of the Office of Diversity, facilitating campus-wide efforts to enhance diversity, inclusion, and equity, and engaging the wider community around these issues. She also oversees the 7 cultural centers, including the Disability Culture Center, where students are encouraged to lead and participate in the wider community. I'd like you to welcome Dr. Payares.
Thank you, Lillian. Good evening. Good evening. On behalf of Chancellor Michael Emeritus, who could not be here today, the Chancellor of UIC, I would like to welcome you and to thank you for having me here. I want to talk a little bit about what is so important about the fact that UIC is a partner in this initiative and how exciting it is for us. And I want to say 3 things about our UIC. I have been at UIC for 25 years, most of it as a professor. I'm moving now across to the administrative side. But there are 3 things that I think UIC is really about and that this partnership and this project really exemplifies. One is that UIC has been for many years a center of teaching and research, but also advocacy around both immigrants and refugees, as well as people with disabilities, disability identity, both of those. There are many, many scholars. If I sat and told you all the research, all the work, books on displacement, refugee rights, human rights, policing of the border, Mexican homeland organizations, immigrant marches, and so on for people who are working on immigration issues. Some of us are also immigrants who came into this work actually out of our own personal experience and wanting to write about these issues. But then also on the side of disability, we have people who write about race and culture and disability identity and performance and the built environment and reproductive health and employment and discrimination. It's just so many things. But this is not just research. For many faculty and staff and students at UIC, being involved in the community, engaging in research and in programming that really helps us not just work in terms of issues of immigrants and refugees and people with disabilities, but think about those intersections. For me, this project embodies that. And I feel a personal sense of pride over the fact that UIC has one of the very few disability cultural centers in the country, on the campus in the country. And in addition to sort of many different changes we're doing around disability rights, and Margaret Fink, who's sitting here in front, is our new director of that Disability Cultural Center. but we continue to also work on disability resources and other things and welcome others into the conversation, as well as, we have also the Disability Human Development Unit that we're very proud of in Tamara. Heather's going to talk more about that. So that's one thing, that we really do have historically and institutionally been very engaged in issues that concern both immigrants and refugees as well as persons with disabilities. But there's a second thing I want to talk about. We are very engaged in human development, very, very engaged. And I think here the connection with IDHS is so important. And let me just talk about a couple of other projects. The UIC School of Theater and Music has a project called Stage, where we partner with Chicago Public Schools to empower young science learners with a platform to develop and communicate their thinking about science. The School of Education created a program, scholarship program and development program called Mr., which identifies sort of Black male students and Latino male students to want to be teachers, because we have such a scarcity of young men of color who go into teaching. We also have the Jane Addams School of Social Work, has many partnerships with Illinois state agencies. Some of the most important ones, those that support adults who transition from institution to community living, and as well as programs that enhance the well-being of children who reside in foster care. These are just some of the examples. And of course, today we're going to talk about, about this initiative about the partnership with IDHS and this program that fills such an important need. The third thing is UIC is very internally collaborative. So in addition to disability human development, this project has also been the focus of faculty and staff in applied health sciences, as well as in the College of Business. And we have had many, many students, undergraduates, graduate students, and that's really important, that we're a community of people working on something. And as you know, it takes a community, and it takes people who are willing to cross boundaries and borders and engage people, teams of people with different abilities in order to make meaningful things happen. So at this cutting edge of migration and disability, engaged in the many Chicago communities and collaborating internally, it has been for me, it is an amazing opportunity for UIC to work with IDHS and help shape and transform the future of refugees who call Illinois their home. One thing I read a while back, I think is really important to leave you with, and that is that there is a difference between saying everyone is welcome here and saying this place was made for you. That second part, this place was made for you, is something that I think is a goal, is an important goal. It's become an important goal in my work. And when I learned and read more about this project, it made it seem like this is what they were thinking. They were thinking, we're going to make something for you that's going to help you make this your home. And we're excited to see this work, and UIC is excited to help you and your family succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. Well, it's my great pleasure now to introduce a great friend of mine, and I know a friend of the communities at large and the communities for many, many years. She's a distinguished professor from the University of Illinois. She's the head of the Department on Disability and Human Development at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and manages the University Center of Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, Rehabilitation Research, and Training Center on Developmental Disabilities. I'd like to introduce to you my friend, Tamar Heller.
First of all, I'm here on behalf of our Institute on Disability and Human Development, our Department on Disability and Human Development. I'm very thrilled to be here because I think this is one of the most exciting projects that's in our institute. And I have to really commend the two faculty, Rushi Hasnian and also Mancha Mirza. Mancha was actually an alumni of our PhD program and is also a professor in occupational therapy and disability studies. And this work was really a passion work. And as Amalia said, what's really important to us is that intersection of social justice and disability. And that is actually a theme in our university and is really something carried out in our department and our institute. You may not know, but we have an academic program, an undergraduate program in disability and human development, and also a PhD program and other certificate programs. I hope one day maybe one of the participants might be interested in coming and studying. We have lots of interesting projects that really can be very helpful because we are not ivory tower. Many of us, we all do work that's engaged in the community, almost everyone, and often get involved. We have clinics, particularly for kids and adults with developmental disabilities. We have an assistive technology unit that is also very helpful in terms of looking at how to accommodate in the workplace or where you live, in terms of being able to do all your life activities. So these are just some examples of the many programs that we have. So I'm just really, and I see we do have someone from the ADA Center back there, right? Can be also very helpful to you. So I would like to, I don't think Rahnee is here yet. She may be coming later. So I will turn it over to Rushi at this point.
So we are introducing a segment of the Pride documentary now.
I like that so much. They helped me with so many things.
Pride Partners of Refugees in Illinois Disability Employment. A 3-year statewide initiative based at the University of Illinois Chicago within the Department of Disability and Human Development and Department of Occupational Therapy in partnership with Medill School of Journalism. Presents a documentary introducing the Pride Project, highlighting the experiences of Pride participants, featuring the perspectives of Pride